Were you doing Seinfeld?
No. Well, I could see. Okay, I could see how you could.
I just heard some. It's better than what I had in my head, which was Orinoco Flow by Enya.
Oh man,
sail away, sail away. I don't know why. I typically always have the worst songs possible in my head.
Oh no!
Wait, did you die? Did I die? Are you there? I don't hear you.
Hello?
Don't hear anything.
Hello?
Uh-oh.
Oh no, it's going to be another one of those things.
Welcome to Uncle Weepy's Depression Dungeon, the least helpful self-help podcast. Here are your hosts, Paul Armstrong and Jeremy Fuchsen.
I don't know if you were this way, but I was kind of like a everythingist. Like, I was nerdy enough and geeky enough, but sporty just enough. Like, I didn't fit into any one group. Have we talked about? We probably talked about this before.
No, I don't know about you not fitting into any one single group. No, I think this is new.
Yeah,
this is new.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just basically like I played basketball. I was tall, so yeah, I played basketball, so that made me fit in with the sporty crowd. But I didn't really care about sports. Didn't really watch it other than that. Mainly basketball. Football just because my dad did.
Yeah.
But I liked, to draw a lot. I was very artistic. So that made me not at all like the sports guys because they didn't give a shit about art.
Right.
And I actually hated those guys and called you all the derogatory names you could think of all the way up through college. So like I towed the line between all these things that none of them meshed, where like the art people hated me because I played sports. The sports people hated me because I was into art. And then the geeks thought that I was not on their side either because, I like sports and art, and all they cared about was video games and comic books.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to do that because my mom thought they were from Satan, so I couldn't read comic books, and video games are bad unless it was like playing sports and video games.
They're the devil!
They were. Well, the whole, we grew up in most people don't remember this, but there was a whole satanic panic.
Oh, hell yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
whole mid-'80s. I listened to... God, every time I would go into school, my mom would put on Focus on the Family, and they would be talking to some dude. And for a while, there was this guy called, what was his name? He was all about Satanism. He had this whole backstory that he was involved in Satanism that turned out to be true.
Was this the guy that had the
he had
the
a beard
special,
and reddish hair.
Was this the guy that had the special about the backwards records?
No, but he was a Christian, so it was all Bob Larson, I think his name was.
That sounds familiar.
This is when I lived in Kansas, by the way. Bob Larson was this huge
Bob Larson
Christian,
is an exorcist.
He would cast out he'd cast out demons live on the air.
Yeah.
And
this guy looks intense.
And stage. It was all hoaxed. It was all staged.
Well, of course it was.
But like my mom, I listened to this in like elementary school, junior high. So of course I got freaked out. But this is completely tangent. I don't know where I'm going with this happened, but all I remember is I didn't fit in with any group, and I don't know where Satanism came into it. Oh, comic books. Yes. So all of that played into rock music, backward masking, all from the devil. Comic books were also evil because of magic and things that didn't make sense, and sex, which is evil, and video games were violent. You couldn't do that. So I couldn't do any. So I couldn't fit into geek culture because I just didn't know. Dungeons and Dragons completely out, way out, so bad. Although there was a Lord of the Rings version that I didn't understand, but my sister had. That was okay because it was written by a Catholic. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, I didn't fit in that. Well, yeah. J.R.R. Tolkien was Catholic, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, they didn't fit in any group, so it was kind of fun being like, "Hey, great! I'm disowned by everyone."
What is even happening?
I used to have AirTouch. AirTouch Cellular.
AirTouch. I've never even heard of AirTouch.
It was out here with the big old brick phone that I had.
Yeah.
This would have been early 2000s, maybe late 90s. I don't remember.
Was it the Motorola StarTAC?
Not a flip.
Not the flip. It maybe like had the mouthpiece flipped over the number pad type of deal. No.
It was just a straight up phone that had a pull out antenna. It was ugly. It was really. It didn't fit in the pocket. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
It wasn't a car phone. It wasn't those bag phones. It was a cellular phone.
Yeah.
I've looked for it. We have it still somewhere in our house. I didn't throw it away, but the kids have played with it so much I don't know where it's gone.
Yeah. No, StarTAC.
I have all my old StarTech.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a brand
was,
or
well, no, Motorola StarTAC. That was one of them that I had. That was like the first. That was the first tiny flip phone.
Then everyone had that Nokia, small Nokia. Remember that one? That was a pretty good phone, actually. That thing could take a beating. And then I had a flip Nokia. It was silver and flip. It was a nice little phone, fit in my pocket perfectly.
Now this is the one that I was thinking of, the MicroTAC. It had a little flippy thing that would flip over the keys.
It looked like that, except no flippy. It was all full out with the bottom where below the keys would have been where you talked into.
Got it.
I don't know if that was the brand. I don't know. I mean, it just was branded with cell carrier, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember it being really expensive and not really using it that often.
Yeah.
Something or whatever a minute, whatever it used to be. Just like the internet.
That's right.
What was it an hour? I honestly don't remember what it used to cost an hour.
Like the America Online type of stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like $7 or $8, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? I think.
I don't know.
I honestly don't remember. It was like $9.95 maybe an hour or something like that. And then you got your list of phone numbers to call in. Always looking for that right one. And I had the actual connection that it said it did.
Yep.
Oh boy. Oh, it's we definitely need an old man time as a
old man time.
Old man time. Hey, remember when we used to walk with our buttholes out? I don't know.
Used to.
Yeah, what? That's why people run away when I'm walking down.
That's right. That's right.
Snappy whips. It's not the way you say it.
So here's something that I was thinking of today. Yes. That there's that, but this is something completely different that I was thinking of.
Please.
I just can't wrap my head around it. What is the deal with people who have a shared email address or a shared Facebook profile? What is that shit? Who are you trying to fool?
Well, here we go into this, Seinfeld. I assume it's technophobes, for one. I would over and above there people who do not know technology, for one. Two, early internet people, right? Isn't it almost always people who like the internet was new and they were older-ish when it came out?
Yeah, but I'm like
not totally old, but within our age range, maybe a little older by like 3 years. Like late 40s.
Okay, let me caveat this, I guess.
Go for it, caveat.
So yeah, 15, 20 years ago, I get it. Setting up your first email, like you get your first broadband internet package, and it comes with an email address, and you only get one. Okay, got it. Fair.
And they're going to stick with it forever.
Got that one.
It's their phone number.
Right.
They're not changing it.
But Facebook profiles? I mean, why?
Well, okay. Well, tell me about the people that have it.
Well, just different married couples and things. This came up.
This is going to sound.
Yeah.
This is going to sound.
Yes.
Bad. Are they Christians?
Yes.
There you go. Shared mutual accountability.
Yeah.
Because
that's
honestly,
kind of where my head was going.
They don't trust the other person, quite honestly.
That's where my head was going. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Okay.
We got there pretty quick, actually.
Yeah.
That's because I noticed the pattern. I'm like, I know people like that, and I know what kind of people they are, and they're sort of like, it's all about being a couple and unified. I'm like, yeah, but you're not. You're two different. Like,
yeah, you're two different people. You
are
your
two
own
different
person.
people. But not all churches, but a lot of churches emphasize that when you're married, you're one. Mm-hmm. Which almost means you both lose your identity and you're this amorphous blob of parenthood. And then guess what happens when, or not parenthood, but marriagehood? Mm-hmm. Anything goes bad, anything like that, what does that mean to us as a unit? What if one of us changes and I don't change? How do we fit as a unified being? Like all of those things just, I can't imagine how much chaos it must cause for people who truly believe that they should be united on everything.
Yeah. That's a tall order, for one thing.
Have you known anyone? Well, that has nothing to do with Facebook, but I assume you probably have, besides yourself, known people who've gotten divorced who are of the Christian faith, right? Mm-hmm. It's no different than anywhere else. In fact, sometimes it feels to me like it's higher.
Oh,
like I have known more Christian. I've had more Christian friends divorced than non-Christian friends.
Fair.
Most of it seems like they went in with a completely, really distorted view of realistic marriage. And couldn't handle any kind of flaw or sin, if you will. And they bail because they're like, this is not the perfect union that God promised us or that we were told we should have. There's no reconciliation for this. You're out. And the church might say the same thing. You're out because this is no
because
good.
You did that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've just noticed it a lot among my Christian friends. But like, I think that Facebook thing ties into that. It's all this well manicured, I don't know honestly where it comes from, idea of marriage. I don't know where that, it's not biblical. There's nothing about the Bible about how marriage should be at all. I don't know where it comes from, but it is, I think, collapsing, but...
It came from Bob Larson, exorcist extraordinaire.
He learned it from the demons?
Yeah, he said these demons, they aren't, they're not doing this right.
I had to listen to that stuff, and like they would have people calling in, and like, I want to talk to the demon inside of you and stuff. And they would go, it was so stupid. But as a kid, I'm like, oh my God, this is real. There's 2 books on rock and roll and backmasking that I remember. Mm-hmm. And one of them was a band that I loved to play to for drums, Zeppelin. And they're like, Zeppelin is bad.
Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven is 7 minutes long, but Jimmy Page claims that he wrote it in a minute and a half. That's some Satan timing there. I'm like, shut. He probably wrote some chords in a couple minutes, and then they wrote a song around it. But God damn it. So many. And Dio, Ronnie James Dio, he was up there as the worst. With devil horns. Mm-hmm. Just, it was all accompanied. Hair metal was happening. It was just a perfect weirdness. PMRC, no one knows what that is. You know what that is.
Yeah.
Frank Zappa's speech. Yeah, it's unbelievably great. Like,
well, and the other thing that really strikes me is when we'll watch MTV Classic or something like that, and it'll be Metal Mayhem block, and it's got like Dio and all these things that we were told was so bad. It's so bad, it's so evil. And I'm looking at it like, these are the biggest fucking dorks.
Oh, they're so nerdy.
Yeah. Like
who was Eddie? Who's Eddie? The like demon dead guy. That's not Judas Priest. That's
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah,
they're so
those
nerdy.
Are
like
some big old nerds.
They're like comic book culture kind of nerds.
Oh yeah,
they've created this whole myth. Their songs are about this dude and this whole mythos of this dude. All I remember is seeing their stage when I had like Eddie with his arms coming out and stuff.
Yeah,
in the 80s, and I'm like,
evil.
It's so evil. My mom, did your parents make you, maybe this is just me, I had to let them read the lyrics of the songs of the bands that I was listening to.
Oh, yep, just you.
That was so fast. Oh no, that's just you. Your parents
just you. But I mean, there I can think of so many times. Like,
so they had the best thing was when I started listening to Stryper, and they were so confused.
Oh, I bet.
Because they're like, these lyrics are great, but they look like women.
Uh-huh.
Like, hey, what are you gonna do about this? Like, I think I liked them really just to fuck with their heads, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because their music was fine. They
was
had
okay.
a good. To Hell with the Devil was a good heyday for them. They were on MTV all the time.
Yeah.
But like, it was at the same time that I also loved the other band called Living Color.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Living Color, and they read those lyrics and they're like, well, they're really smart, and that's really thought provoking. I'm like, yeah, they're not Christian.
Uh-huh.
What do I do? And they let me listen to them, but like Whitesnake, out. Nope, couldn't listen to Whitesnake. I had it anyway, but Def Leppard, they weren't a big fan of. Too many, a song called Women, out.
Out.
Yeah, I love Def Leppard still to this day, and I listen to them anyway. But I think mostly my mom, who was just a Christian music radio, a Christian radio, AM radio junkie. It just indoctrinated her. If she had her cognitive ability still, she would be total Fox News Trumpist. I know for a fact. Ugh. Which goes back to Facebook. Have you? Did you see that Harmon quit?
Yes. Quit Twitter.
This is a good topic, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a good topic. I can't wait for the next Harmontown to come out because he's going to talk about it.
I hope he does.
Well,
it records on Sundays. When did he delete?
He deleted. I read about it yesterday, so it had to have been Monday.
So he may not have done it yet because I think they record on Sundays.
Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe they record on Mondays, but I'm hoping he addresses it because I'm like, it's tough. Because I know why it happened to him, which is just complete trolling.
Yes,
in a way to try to somehow correlate a hypocrisy with Roseanne. Yeah, and maybe Bill O'Reilly or whatever it might be with like, hey, these guys say some terrible things. Like in the past, like 10 years ago, if you don't remember 10 years ago where we weren't all Me Too and being woke and whatnot.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff maybe wasn't great. He even deleted the video in question, I think at the time in like 2008 or whenever it happened.
Yeah, that's how I understood it, is that 10 years ago he posted it and went, wow, what? This is a little too far for even me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a Dexter ripoff with child rape sort of as a joke punchline, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And he knew it was in poor taste even for comedy, which is by and large about pushing our comfort zone. Yeah, and I understand the correlation. The like, hey, how is that any different than what Roseanne did? I'm like, yeah. The difference is that she's been saying that forever.
Yeah.
Been saying terrible stuff that's fairly racist, conspiratorial, nuts forever. And recently, not 10 years ago, although I'm sure she said that kind of stuff 10 years ago.
Sure.
If not worse. It's just the weird... I mean, like, Schraubing comes into play here. How do you troll the troll? Like, James Gunn gets fired.
Yeah.
Because of stuff similar to Harmon. Harmon gets to stick around because at least Adult Swim is like, yeah. It was a long time ago.
Right.
And he already apologized for it.
Yeah.
Even back then.
And deleted it.
And where James Gunn is also super old stuff that they're digging up to try to.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff was, 11 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to gotcha.
Oh, that's exactly what they're doing. It's that
thing
gotcha media.
It's the thing that it worked though with Gunn, which sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anytime you're going to go against the mouse, the mouse is going to win.
And I guess they're being like, well, we got rid of Roseanne. We got to get rid of him. I'm like, yeah, but Roseanne literally just said, basically compared an African-American woman to an ape. Not even basically. She blatantly compared her to an ape, which is terribly racist.
Yes.
And since then, I don't see a whole lot of remorse on her part. I see a lot of Trump-like blaming other people for it.
Yes.
Where Harmon went right out like, oh yeah, it was stupid. I should never post it. It was in poor taste. And I'm sure James Gunn probably said the exact same thing. Like, yeah,
he did actually
trying to be funny. Yeah,
he's like, this was me. This was me trying to be. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I read this is me trying to be provocative.
Yeah.
11 years ago, and as you can see, there really wasn't anything provocative about it. It was all just stupid and not funny and in poor taste and.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I read the stuff, and yes, which made me go, oh God, I know I've got something back there that,
Oh, I definitely do.
I've said some dumb shit. I know,
but I mean, comedians say stuff like that all the time on stage, all the time.
Yeah.
It's what they do. They're just trying to make you upset, or just see where they can push that boundary of, is this funny or is this going too far?
Yeah.
Bill Burr, Patton Oswalt even will go pretty far. I'm like, these really great comedians, they push the boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, someone recorded Patton's set and they tried to throw him under the bus for this rape culture kind of joking stuff where it was just him trying out material, trying to say things, and someone got super offended, recorded the set, posted it. And pretty much it might have been on like Jezebel or something, but try to pin him on like trying to make him justify it. And he's like, I'm exploring the boundaries of how we talk about these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what comedians do. Sometimes their way is to be the antithesis of it or to be the satirization of it. And it's a shame that people like a James Gunn gets like look at the movies. Man, this goes into the art versus the artist, but it's a really weird time we're living in right now. Really weird.
Boy howdy.
Wop, 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 wop. Some music plays and everything's happy and cheery.
Play him off.
But I mean, yeah, like if anyone were to dig through my Twitter, I am sure I've said super insensitive stuff.
Yeah.
Either sexist or subtly racist without trying to be like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the hindsight is always going to be damning. Almost always.
Well, here, let's just go to Favstar and let's look for.
Oh boy.
Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. There you go.
Star.
Well, that's
you can get all your tweets downloaded. Twitter will do it for you. Just request.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm good.
There's two weird groups, alt-right groups, the Proud Boys and
the Proud Boys?
Do you not know about the Proud Boys?
No, that sounds like a Tim and Eric thing.
It's real though.
Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys are this weird semi-religious group that don't believe in masturbation. Believe that women should always be in the home and not working and be wives, and they're this like weird kind of the Venn diagram of Proud Boys and incels. Is that what they're called?
Oh God,
or uncels, the celibate guys.
Yeah, the incels.
They kind of overlap quite a bit. Like,
ooh,
a lot of alt-right leaders
those are
came
some angries.
Yeah, I believe Richard Spencer came from the Proud Boys.
Oh my.
And incels are kind of like an offshoot of that. Like, we're seeing all sorts of really quickly metastasizing.
I don't want to go to the website. I don't want to get on a list.
No, look at Wikipedia. You might be able to see.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article.
Yeah. But it's like crazy how quickly these insanely it's like what's the other really weird conspiracy alt-right group? Crap. Not Anonymous.
Smooch Poodles.
No, they're the ones that come up with all these really insane
theories, all these really, really just Fox News.
Yes, they probably are behind
the
it.
Pepe the Frog people.
Oh,
is it the Pepe the Frog people?
No, that's 4chan.
Okay, yeah,
4chan are the people that are going after the likes of James Gunn and Dan Harmon. They're the ones that are digging into old Twitter.
They're doing it for the lulz.
They're just doing it to try to be like, look how smart and clever we are. I'm like,
yeah,
aren't we smarter somehow? Don't we have at least some real tech savvy people who can take down 4chan somehow? Or
boy, you'd hope, you'd think.
It's on Due by Friday. They talk about this group all the time.
I have never heard them talking about the Proud Boys. Never heard them.
No, not the Proud Boys. This other really weird alt-right. So QAnon. It was like anonymous.
Oh, yes, QAnon. Yes.
So like there are these. Like I would love to create a diagram or a timeline of how these groups are probably feeding off of each other and spin outs from them because they have to be.
Yes,
they have to be. Like, I wonder who was first and who spawned this and where that came from to the, like, there has to be some crazy, red yarn, put a pin in it kind of all over your wall of crazy alt-right conspiracy theorists and vile human beings. Like, there has to be threads connecting them all somehow. I'm certainly not willing to do it, but I know there is. Actually, I probably will get really bored and
I kind of feel like because they talked about it on Roderick on the Line too. I kind of feel like QAnon is the center of it all.
But how long have they been around? Because Proud Boys have been around for a little while. Like there was a This American Life on them. Like kind of their birth came from a radio DJ. And then but he was an African American, and he where it went, he's like, this is bad. This is real bad. Like, basically, they kicked him out of his own group that he kind of started on his own radio program, and they became this really terrible right wing. Like, they pretty much were the people behind Charlottesville, the Proud Boys. Like, really? I believe it was Richard Spencer is a big Proud Boy. That sounds. You're a big Proud Boy. Why would they want to call themselves
I know, that's
that?
Exactly. I mean, it's just, look at you. look at the Proud Boy. Who's a Proud Boy? Who's a Proud Boy? Who's a Proud Boy?
Who's a Proud Boy driving the truck? Oh, good boy. Who's got the Confederate flag like a big Proud Boy? Good boy.
Good boy, you waved that flag.
You get emasculated. Good boy. Yeah, I'm trying to see their origin. Oh, it's 2017, so
yeah, that's what. So okay, so the boys were proud before Q was anon.
Is that when you looked up QAnon?
Yeah.
Then what is it? Incels? What is it? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, incel. Yep.
It's not uncel. It's incel.
No,
right?
It's not uncel. It's incel.
Involuntary celibate. That's right.
Yes.
They've been around. Let's see. 93?
I was going to say the incels, they've been around. I mean, incels have been around for as long as history has been history, but they just have given themselves a name.
October 25th, 2017, Reddit announced a new policy that would ban content that encourages, glorifies, incites, or causes violence or physical harm against a group or individual people, basically because of incels. Probably threatening women because they won't have sex with them, which is literally what they're about. I hate all women because they won't have sex with me.
Yep.
That is the most base, stupid.
Oh, yeah.
The fuck is happening? just like this is our reality right now.
The internet happened.
Yeah, you're right. That's really the answer.
That's the complete answer to the whole thing. The internet happened.
We let insane people find each other and create small groups that are very loud.
Yes.
Because otherwise they would have not probably found each other, have kind of just suffered silently and gotten over it and gone on with their life.
Sure. I mean, there have been angry dudes that girls would not bang for millennium.
Yeah, there's movies about it.
Yeah.
Can't think of any right offhand, but there are.
Can't buy me love.
Can't buy me love. Well,
sounds right.
You're right. You're about right.
Yeah.
Short Circuit. Boy, what a...
Oh, Short Circuit.
E.T. Guess why he came to Earth?
Billy McGrew, the unfuckable scrote bag.
We're going to backtrack and be like, Marty McFly, incel. Totally. No, Biff was. Actually, Biff probably was an incel.
Biff, yes.
Oh,
yes, he
shit.
was.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
He was a Proud Boy and an incel, and he started
He
all
was.
of this.
He was a Proud Boy
started
incel.
fucking... We're on the dark timeline from Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Shit. Fucking
Well, I mean,
Biff.
we've known that all
Biff
along.
is-
We've just
yeah,
been,
Biff
we've
is
been
our
waiting
president.
we've been waiting for Biffy Boy to
Biff
pull
is our
his,
president.
his sports book out.
Yeah, Biff is our president right now. Mm-hmm. Quite literally.
Yes.
Fuck everything. We figured it out, but it doesn't mean that anything's going to get better.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with Biff Tannen as your president. That's what everyone's always wanted. You're about as useful as a screen door. I can't remember what he says. Something about a screen door on something. And then he's like, screen door on a submarine, you asshole. But he didn't say that. I don't remember what he says. I could totally see Trump saying shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Can you? All of it? All of it.
Yeah.
He's Biff.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Even the hair from Back to the Future 2.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly
Yes.
the same.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, did you know that we have after show content?
We do?
We do. We have after show content.
We do talk a lot.
We do talk a lot. And so, as a matter of fact, we have almost enough equal length episodes, like 2 every time we publish an episode. We basically have 2. And so we have a super secret special feed for our whole second secret show, which contains things that are continuations of conversations, completely different. And I was thinking about that because as I was looking how you shared on Facebook today about the latest episode, I was like, you just mentioned a topic that's not in the show.
Oh.
But that's okay.
I knew we talked about it.
You knew you talked about it, but it's not in the show, but it's in the after show, in the super secret after show. And there's only one way to get that stuff.
What would that be?
Well, the best way, or actually the only way to get that stuff is by going to patreon.com/Uncle Weepy and becoming one of our supporters. And once you do that, for only $5 a month, once you do that, you get your own special private RSS feed that you can then subscribe. Get basically 2 for the price of $5. So you get the regular show, then you get the after show, and there are 2 lost episodes on that special super secret RSS feed that we never even released. So it's even more extra than that.
Nice.
I know.
You might get some magical spells.
Well,
maybe a recipe for secret liquor. I don't know. I'm making stuff up, but anything can happen.
Actually, I think that's good because we need to get creative because there are actually 3 levels of support that people could give. So they could give the $5 support, which, gives you the super secret after show feed that contains the bonus content. That's our Uncle Weepy support group level. That's $5. $10 a month is our therapist level. And so you get that feed, plus we say thank you during each episode. And then the show producers level, which is $20 or more. It's kind of like those party flyers, 2:00 to question mark, $20 to question mark. You get the feed, we talk about you, and then we'll figure out some fun present to give you twice a year. Could be a super secret cocktail. We don't know.
Yeah.
And it says as such on Patreon. It just says we're not sure what the gifts are, but we'll make them cool. We swear.
Yeah, if we get more people, maybe we'll start doing more cool things. I would love to do T-shirts or little buttons. Maybe
I would love
a little
to.
Uncle Weepy button
do some swag.
Yeah, do some swag we can give away. We can do a question answer. Sort of, you get to run the topics we talk about. We of course have complete discretion to ignore you because you might be an idiot. I'm just kidding.
Maybe
I'm kidding. But get some mention, maybe call in. Maybe it'll be, hey, we'll talk with you, we'll interview you, be a special part of the show at certain amounts.
Love to do that.
We're all exploring things, and as we're hitting our stride, getting more into this,
That's right.
It's very important stuff.
It is important stuff.
Because we're changing the world.
We are changing.
We're changing the world in the fact that we get to distract you for an hour from the complete shit fire of dumpster diapers that's happening in the world right now.
That's right. And for only $5 a month, you can extend that to us distracting you for up to 2 hours a week.
That's right. And you could be a part of it. And where's that again? Patreon.com/Uncle Weepy, spelled
yeah, I mean,
WEEPY.
Yeah, all one word. Uncle Weepy, UNCLEWEEPY. Join now. You'll be glad you did.
We'll
be glad you did. Paul will love you forever. He'll love you a long time.
I love you. I'll give you hugs.
Media Corner.
Did you watch Dirty Money yet?
No, I have not watched Dirty Money.
You got to put that on your list.
It's on my list.
It's getting more and more relevant every day.
I've got a very I need to switch over and start whittling away on the Netflix list. It's
Did you got a Trello board for that yet?
No, I don't have a Trello board for it yet. I've just keep checking stuff on the list and going, okay, I'll get after it. I've been, I don't know, the last couple of weeks.
For one, you've been gone for, yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been gone, but then when I have been home, I've been watching Parks and Rec. So
because it is goddamn one of the best sitcoms ever made.
It's pretty good. Like I said in another episode, I mean, I started watching it when it was on, and it didn't hold me, and I now know it was because I was burnt out of The Office, and I mean, they're
and it felt similar in the beginning.
So yeah, they really did feel very similar, but now I'm on season 3, and
I think they completely detour from The Office in a great way.
Yeah.
Like, every character starts to become these really interesting and all really good characters. Like, there's not like, Ron can be sour, but he's not bad. And
no.
Like, all these people have flaws and good things, but it's always about the best of them, not the worst of them, which is really weird to see in modern sitcoms. Because Seinfeld sort of brought that about. Like, horrible people are really funny. Let's just watch horrible people. Like, that's just kind of what everyone's done. And then Parks and Rec comes along, and it's like, yeah, but people are kind of nuanced, and let's give some people some hope about some things turn out okay, even if they're not perfect or the best. Yeah, I love that show. I love Andy Dwyer. I love, like, all the characters. There's something about them that's just kind of great.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, April is just this kind of weird, dark force of absurdity. Have they introduced Ben and Chris?
Yes.
Wyatt, and Chris Traeger?
Yep.
Yeah. Once they've come in, the show just takes off. Like, they infuse all new life.
About 4 or 5 episodes in past them showing up.
I'm going to be really curious to see how you feel, how it goes, because it just gets really great.
Yeah.
It's one of those shows like, oh, man. I watch it to fall asleep because I've seen it so much, but...
Sure.
It's just one of those truly hopeful shows that you don't get to see very often. And not in a schmarmy way. I don't mean that like, oh, everything's gold light and french fries out your butthole. Like, it's just, like, everyone is flawed, but not to the point where they're just mean to each other.
Yeah.
Like, they're mean to Jerry, but
he
takes it good-naturedly. Like,
yeah.
God, Jerry, come on. It's kind of great. Yeah, it's a good show. It's an excellent show. That's a good one to binge on.
A show that came to my attention that I added to the list that I have not. that this was actually the one that I was like, God, I gotta get onto my Netflix list because it's long. The Toys That Made Us. Have you heard about this?
I have.
Have you seen any of it?
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Oh, you've seen all of them. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they do He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Barbie. I skipped over because I don't have anything to connect with. What the hell? Sorry, Netflix completely just updated their family icons.
Yes, they did. Yeah, I was like, hey,
shit,
wait
the
a second,
fuck?
that doesn't look right at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of the big orange chicken, it's all full color.
Star Wars. The Star Wars ones are great because it has to do a lot with Cincinnati, and there's a lot of history here with toys.
Ah.
Has
Really?
Hasbro, sorry. Yeah. You know who got the Star Wars first toy contract, right? It wasn't any big boys that you would think of as Kenner.
Well, yeah, Kenner, yeah.
They're from Cincinnati.
Did not know that. I thought you were talking about Cincinnati Industrial Plastics. Is that's what I thought.
Kenner Toys is from Cincinnati.
Well,
And
there you go.
They play big into that story. It's really cool. 'Cause I know the office building there, and I'm like, oh, I know where that is. They're still sort of around. They got bought by like Mattel or something a long time ago.
Yeah.
So there's a Netflix series that came out that I haven't started watching that has my interest peaked called Dark Tourist. And it's about, I didn't know this was an industry, but there's an industry called dark tourism where people go to dangerous places in the world for vacation. Like war-torn countries.
Oh, yeah,
or
look at
drug
that. Yeah.
So it's on my, I'm like, I might have to watch some of this because it seems really.
Oh, yeah,
weird.
look at this.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did you watch the oh, damn it.
Nanette?
Yes, the Nanette one. That's exactly where I was going.
I was in tears at the end.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you what, that thing takes a turn, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I heard everyone talk about it. I'm sure you did too.
Yep.
Basically all I heard was you have to watch it. You just have to watch it. I'm like,
yes,
fine, I'll watch it.
Yep.
And it's funny, traditional, pretty good comedy.
Yep.
And she just pivots.
Yeah.
But not completely unrelated to what she had been talking about.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And it turns into a TED Talk. Or a...
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best ways to put that, yes.
Or she preaches, honestly.
Yeah, well, sure.
And it
Both.
is fucking powerful.
Yeah, and I mean, and I don't want to say that like she sucks all the air out of the room. That's not.
No,
that's not.
Well, she doesn't give a shit either.
But I mean, it.
She was throwing comedy back in everyone's face.
Yes, there you go. She throws it back in everybody's face, and then she like has everybody right in the palm of her hand, exactly where she wants them. And it was pretty amazing.
It is amazing because she took comedy and then twisted into, do you know why we do comedy? Do you really know why? Why a lot of us do comedy? Here's why. And it gets deep and dark and painful.
Yes.
And brutally real. I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I think relatively soon.
Yeah, now that you know it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I told other people, I'm like, you just need to watch it. Like, why is it good? I'm like, it's better than good. It's required watching. You just have to watch it to understand this is the world we need to live in. Is one that's able to grapple with what she is going to be talking about. That we can look in the mirror and look at ourselves and say, this is partly my fault.
Ooh, yeah, good. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Isn't that what she's kind of getting at?
I think in the end
she never accuses anybody like that, but that's what I took away.
No, it's never accusatory, and it's never a poor me or look at what I've been through, or I mean no, it was never that. So yeah,
but it was like it's that someone has to go to that kind of lengths to feel like they can be even accepted into society. That's our fault.
Yep.
And that goes through the breadth and depth of all sorts of shit. Like there's a really good I don't know that if you listen to Radiolab, but they're doing a series on the title of the series is called Gonads, which is funny. But it's about what makes men and women. And they do it by case studies, not by being overly political or overly scientific. They're just going by case studies of people.
Yeah.
And the one that really grabbed my attention was this one that was called Routette. She's a long distance runner in India. A really good long distance runner in India, breaks all sorts of records. And she got kicked off the team because they do a test now that looks for genetic makeup in your chromosomes. And they go into this whole history of how sports have defined gender, or how they have tried to define gender. Because the conceit is men have an undue advantage over women. Therefore, we need to make sure that men aren't pretending to be women to get unfair advantage and win medals and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
So, over the years, there's been all sorts of different tests they've done, whether it's literally making women all come in naked and be inspected. This happens.
Yeah.
To test that they're women.
Right.
Then realizing that that's not really the true test of what makes a woman, because there's all sorts of things that happen biologically that you might have women parts, but might have more testosterone. So then they start doing testosterone tests because they believe that is what truly distinguishes men from women, is how much testosterone you have, and can get rid of some of this doping stuff. But they realize that there is this unclear and ill-defined. They just chose a number. Women can't have more than this many natural hormones and be a woman. And this woman from India had over that, so they kicked her out. No hearing, no trial. Just you're out. You can't compete anymore. And there's no blind test for this either. Like they don't test all women competing to see what a baseline of hormones that they have, but like there are available studies out there, and like the range is insane. There are men that have way lower hormone counts than women, but they're men, we think. And women can, like it runs the gamut. So then they're like, well, maybe we should start doing chromosome tests to see, make sure that women have XX and not a Y. And then the podcast goes in, but wait. But if you really if you study maybe 100 women, you're going to find women that have tons of Y chromosomes.
Yeah, like Klinefelter syndrome.
Or just nothing that does anything. Like there is apparently a masking sort of Y chromosome that women have that aren't fully Y, but close enough to Y, and vice versa. Like, it's fascinating. They're just going to this gender fluidity is not a political thing. It's a scientific thing. And then the problem is that we are trying to force definitions upon it, and every time we try to clarify it, we keep finding that we can't. And
right,
they use
because
sport
some
as
new
the
edge
ultimate
case shows up, or
and they're using sport as the ultimate metaphor for how people are trying to define it, and how they keep trying these new tests. They keep pushing their definition of what it is, and it's completely fascinating. Which ties into, in my mind, a little bit to Nanette, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's a boyish girl, who is a lesbian, who doesn't fit in with men or women, and is ostracized, kicked out, right?
Yeah.
And we're the culprit of that because we like to be binary. We like to say, well, if you have a penis, you're a man. And if you have a vagina, you're a woman. Not realizing that, 15 out of 100 people born, doctors are making a choice. And or even if physically outside, you might have hormonal differences or chromosomal differences, which define in real rudimentary ways what makes someone, like, you might have a penis, but your chromosomes are XX, making you feel more feminine. Therefore, you're very confused. And we don't allow that. You can't be confused. You have a dick. You're a man, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good series. Like, they're not trying to beat you over the head with anything. They're just introducing these caveats of, like, what about, oh, look what happens when this oh, look at what happens here. Like, they don't get into any kind of the politics of it. They just get into, like, there's this story and here's this person. And we're going to hear from this person right now. And they're going to talk about it. And it's just, it's been blowing my mind, quite honestly. The gonads. And it's called that because that was typically thought of as the, you know, what makes a man a man. Then they realize that every human being has it. There's some point during cell development, it kind of, you know, goes up, goes down. Like, there's all sorts of things that happen that anyone who understands biology is there's nuance between all of these cell divisions and all of these things happening, which as we get smarter and more advanced, we start to realize. That's why, like, it seems like, oh, why is there such a rash of people who have autism? Or why is there such a rash of people that have this or that? It's like, it's not because it's new. It's because we're better able to define shit. Because we can look and discover, like, oh, the brain is a spectrum of flaws. You know, whether you go more on an autism spectrum or to the other degree, like, we typically think of autistic people. I read this book called Neurotribes, which is about neurodiversity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good book. They talk about, like, the people that discovered autism and how what they discovered was the spectrum of brain weirdness. Like, people with autism aren't unemotional. They're actually too emotional. So much so, they shut down.
Completely overwhelms.
Yeah. Too much sound, too much taste, too much feel. You know, senses are overloaded. That is why they should, like, it's the complete opposite of what we would assume. And then you have people that are completely insensatory, that they don't have any feeling and they're actually very dangerous to be around because they don't feel pain and they don't feel pleasure. Like we just run this gamut of, like, our desire for binary, like, answers. You're this and you're that. You're a male and you're autistic. It's just not as simple.
Right.
And I think this goes back to what we were talking about before. This was completely unintentional on my part, but I think the internet has allowed people to discover the nuance of life, so much so that some people are blown away by it and want to embrace it, and some people are freaked out and fighting it.
So they make family email addresses.
Yeah. They make family email addresses. They create these groups that are fighting against anything that they don't consider normal.
Yeah. By
hating on them and trying to get them out of the world, and voting in some Biff Tannen-like guy who is they consider as most binary kind of person they can think of to combat what they can't handle.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way I see it.
They're proud, though. They're proud boys.
Proud boy.
They're proud
boy. Who's my proud boy who loves Enya?
Do you have questions or topics for the show? Call 816-535-1094 and leave a voicemail. Or reach us on Twitter at Uncle Weepy. If you enjoyed this show, first rate and review the show on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. Your review helps the podcast robot suggest this show to other listeners. Second, consider supporting the show on Patreon. Patrons of the show get access to exclusive after-show material. Several levels of support are available. Visit patreon.com/Uncle Weepy for details.